Hello and welcome to the Almost 30 podcast.
Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. It's Lindsay and Christo. What's happening? Welcome. You're here.
Welcome. Hope all is well in your world. We're so grateful you chose Almost 30 as your podcast of choice today. It means so much to Lindsay and I. We've been doing this for over 6 years and we love our community. We love everyone that listens. And we're just so grateful to connect and be inspired by people like you and just
Yeah.
have you in our orbit.
Yeah. And we're not afraid to have kind of out there conversations that go deep. We're not afraid to laugh and be silly. So you never quite know what you're going to get in, in any episode. But I think that's kind of the fun, the adventure. And if you're watching on YouTube, hello. Our skin is the same color as the wall.
As literally our videographer, Tommy, who sometimes makes appearances, he's like, I don't know what we were thinking when we decorated the studio. There's blush colored drapes. The wall is blush colored. The
The
seats are blush colored, and our skin is blush colored.
So anytime he or anyone else edits or corrects kind of the color in the
Hmm.
video, basically how you do it is you choose a color to kind of tune up, tune down, whatever. So everything is skin color.
Everything.
Everything kind of gets a little
He's like, I have to pump up the
interesting.
blue to
Yeah.
100 to make it not so intense.
But it's nice. It's warm. So if you're on YouTube, hello, make sure you subscribe. You could put us on your TV. I recommend it. I recommend us big,
Yes.
nice and big on your
Nice and
TV.
big. Good look at our pores. This one's a good one. It's on astrology. And I loved the angle that we took in this conversation. If you've been listening for a while, you might know that we talk about astrology every quarter, probably every couple months. We have amazing astrologers on the podcast. But today we have Jennifer Freed. She is a PhD. She is a renowned psychological astrologer. So we talk about what psychological astrology is, which is very unique and an angle that we haven't taken yet on this podcast, and an angle that I very much support.
Yeah, I loved it. And, you know, I'm sure a lot of you out there are astrology curious, or maybe you have regular readings, or you're kind of diving into your own chart. And I think what can happen sometimes is whether it's with someone who's reading you or what you are reading about, there can be like an energy to certain signs or transits, and it can make you feel a type of way and almost give away your own intuition and power to the reader or what you're reading. And I love Jennifer because she emphasizes that you know. You are the expert, and really she is learning from you in a reading, and she uses just inquiry and listening to give you an incredible reading. And she teaches astrologers as well, and she describes astrology as your cosmic DNA, which I
Mhm.
love. It is
Mhm.
just a unique map to how you can really live a beautiful, full, fulfilling, purpose filled life, no matter your chart. You don't
Mhm.
have to be, a Virgo or a Capricorn to do all these things.
You say Virgo because you're a
I'm
Virgo.
a Virgo, baby. I'm sorry. If
You
you
don't
want to be
have to be a
fabulous,
Virgo
if
to
you want to be
succeed.
fabulous, okay?
Well, I think it's this. I think the work of psychological astrology is so important because it almost puts words to what I feel like sometimes in the space of personal growth, self
Yeah.
development, spirituality that we're in. Oftentimes, when people are getting readings, whether it's tarot or human design or astrology or whatever they're being read, or if they're getting healing sessions or if they're having life coaching sessions, there's a lot of a therapeutic element and there's a
Mhm.
lot of psychology that goes into that. And if someone isn't trained in psychology or in like a certain method, you can really fuck with people in a vulnerable
Yeah.
state because people are being very vulnerable in those situations. They're bringing problems, they're bringing things that they wish to learn more about or solve. Oftentimes it's being power being given away, but to be able to take the lens of psychological astrology, I really, really love because it does give the power back to the person that's being read. It gives the power back to the chart. It gives the power back to, the person that's looking for answers. So we talk about psychological astrology. The thing that I was most interested in and excited about our conversation was learning
Mhm.
about the elements
Yes.
and learning about the elements in a variety of ways. But the thing that I really took from this, that I'm hopeful you all will as well, is that you have a dominant element of your chart. So for Lindsay and I, we're both very earth dominant. So that means we need to seek in our life to incorporate more fire because that's the
Mhm.
opposite of earth is fire. And so the way that manifests in my life that I don't have a lot of fire, I don't even have a lot of fire sign friends, is that I oftentimes see the shadow side of fire signs in other people. So, in order for me to have a more balanced relationship with fire, with fiery people, with fiery situations, is to bring more fire into my life consciously, whether that's wearing more bright colors, more reds, more oranges, whether that's doing fire gazing, whether that's lighting the whole place on fire, whether that's burning all my meals. It's just getting fire in however I can.
I know, it was
or
really
or yelling at each
fascinating.
other.
Or oh, yeah, she was saying, Krista and I could benefit from role playing and getting really angry at each other, but, like, playing it, like,
I would
playing a role,
I think we
which
could try.
totally.
'Cause our fights are literally, like,
So
some
conscious,
people's, like,
so earthy and
so
watery.
conscious, so peaceful.
Which I thought
I'm
was
scared of
hilarious.
that.
Yeah, because it's like, well, because with us, there's not that, underlying resentment of, like, a "fuck you." So,
Yeah.
like, to role play, sure, I guess, but it's like, I don't know.
She's like, "Be more dramatic, be more
Be more
fiery, be
dramatic,
more expressive." I think there is
yes.
something to that.
For sure.
I'm doing improv, so there could be that, like, that kind of
Mhm.
element, but there's, like,
Spontaneity.
spontaneity, yeah. But the fire, I'm
Yes.
like, that scares me.
I have a friend who is so fiery. I was thinking of her when we were talking to Jennifer. I was like, "Oh," and she's an Aries and the fire is wild and she's been in a couple relationships where her fire was so assaulting to her partners. And it was really hard to watch 'cause I'm just like, "Holy shit!" Because she's so powerful and amazing but, like,
We're
her
like, "Love your chart, love all aspects." We're like, she was abusing people.
but, like, the but I wish for her partners that they could kind of bring the fire themselves to kind
Yeah.
of I don't know, it was just a
What's
wild
best?
thing.
Like, what's best? Because there is the water good? But
I
then
kn
but then sometimes does the fire just keep fucking going? And they're like, "Oh, because I can?"
Yeah, I
Like
feel like her fire was so fiery in those relationships because their fire was non-existent.
yeah.
So she was kinda compensating, so that's why it's interesting to kind
Mm.
of bring out a little fire, and my North Node is in Aries, so it actually behooves me to kind of bring that more of that fire, but, um, yeah, it's just
I
I
mean,
don't know.
I'm having a hard time because I feel so scared of fire,
Mm,
that energy that I'm like, I don't know when in my life I've really
but
enjoyed that.
and it's funny because I feel like you kinda hear Gemini and Scorpio, and you're like, "Whoa," but
Yeah.
neither of those are fire signs.
I know.
Isn't that
Yeah,
interesting?
what are those, air?
Air and water.
Really?
Gemini's air and Scorpio's water.
Oh,
Isn't that
wow.
interesting? And you're a
Yeah.
Pisces and you're water.
I know. I think with the Gemini, actually, a lot of Gemini women are coming into my life, and I'm really
Yeah.
seeing how fun and beautiful and creative they are.
Yes.
And it's weird, like I'll kind of be with a Gemini friend, and I'll see the other side, and I have to
Mhm.
like brace. I'm like, and it's like it's a lesson for me
Yeah.
to be like, all right, they're in their other Gemini aspect. Like, how can I hold my ground?
And I also 'cause I have my Gemini moon, but I have Gemini friends, and sometimes I think there's a part of me that kinda wishes I could,
Yeah,
in certain ways,
there's a
in
truth.
my son, be yeah, just kinda, like, be that way, and then
Yeah.
be the other way, be the other twin,
Hmm.
kind of that, yeah, just, like,
The freedom.
liberated
Hmm.
freedom. So that's sometimes why I'm like, "Ooh, ooh," but I'm like, "Well, I
Yes.
kinda wish I
They're
could
so
do that."
creative.
Yes.
So creative and expressive
Mhm.
and all of those things. But yeah, so basically, in this, you could really think about your element. What is your dominant element, and how you really enable or how you embody that current element for
Yeah.
Earth. For us, we talk a lot about that, and then how we can incorporate more fire. The benefit to that would again be bringing out the aspect of the beneficial aspects of that, and not having the shadow side be as persistent.
Mhm.
And what's beautiful about this is that it adds another element to your chart and to astrology that I think we haven't talked about before. I don't
Yeah.
think we often talk about the elements
Mm-mm.
in this way. So I was excited to explore them in more detail. And we'll make sure to cover all the elements. So every one of your elements will be covered. We talk about that and make it very clear for you.
Yeah, and her new book, A Map to Your Soul, using the astrology of fire, earth, air, and water to live deeply and fully, is out this month. So look out for that. You can go to jenniferfreed.com, Jennifer, Freed.com.
Yes, this is such a good one. And at the end, we talk about 2023.
Oh, yeah, baby.
So I would share this with a friend who loves astrology. You can talk about what your predictions for 2023 are. You can talk about the elements, how you can incorporate more of them, how you can balance yourself with the elements. And we've grown through sharing the show. So thank you so much for tuning into Almost 30. We love you all very much. You can learn more about Almost 30 at almost30.com. You can tune into our second podcast, Morning Microdose, which is basically small doses of the podcast that provide you inspiration, motivation for your day.
We love you all. Enjoy this one, and we'll see you on the other side.
We'll see you soon.
Later. We recently had on Sherveen, the founder of Symbiotica. Y'all, this episode broke the internet. On IG, on TikTok, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. Y'all are freaking out, and for good reason. I am absolutely just so enthralled with this brand. They are so meticulous in their quality, their sourcing. They're developing these products for years. This is a health supplement company, if you don't know, and they are designing sophisticated organic formulations that are scientifically proven to increase vitality and longevity by filling nutritional gaps that result from our modern day diet. So we live in a time where our soils are depleted. There are toxins in more things than I'd like to really admit to myself. And they are sourcing the highest quality bioavailable ingredients and the most advanced delivery system. Most of their supplements are liposomal delivery, which I love. This is my preferred way to take supplements. I just wanted to shout out some of my favorite products that maybe you would like, but I highly recommend just perusing their website. I love their liposomal vitamin C. It's derived from non-GMO L-ascorbic acid, and to create the perfect synergy, they added bamboo silica, one of nature's most beautifying minerals required for collagen production, normal cell function, and strong connective tissue. So this is going to support healthy aging. It's going to boost your collagen production, and your immune system is going to be supported as well. I also love the liposomal vitamin D3 and K2 and CoQ10. So this comes in a bottle, but then I squirt it in my mouth. I do 12 pumps a day. It contains the highest quality plant-based materials essential for activating over 3,000 genes associated with longevity. D3 is critical for regulating the absorption of calcium and phosphorus, two minerals that play a key role in the strength and density of our teeth and skeletal system. And this formula may also help promote mental clarity and support normal blood clotting while increasing energy levels. So this is going to support your immune health, strong bones, supports cardiovascular health by reducing arterial plaque. So these are my top two supplements. I am also, last but not least, really obsessed with Shilajit. So this is a plant-based mineral resin that contains over 84 essential minerals and fulvic acid and offers numerous health benefits. It's a super antioxidant that improves memory and immunity, anti-inflammatory, and it's an energy booster. So this is great to replace your coffee in the morning, but you can create your own custom bundle subscription and get 15% off your purchase, okay? This is in addition to custom bundle discounts. So if you do a custom bundle subscription, you can get up to 45% off when you use code almost30. I wouldn't wait on this. Go to symbiotica.com. That's Symbiotika, symbiotica.com, and use the code almost30 at checkout. Lots of you have noticed, I've noticed for sure, because I see myself every day, but my hair, I'm proud to say, has grown so much and has gotten so much healthier. So I started kind of focusing on the health and growth of my hair about 4 months before my wedding. This was a time that I knew I wanted to have long, thick, beautiful hair, for sure. And so when I found Hair Love, I was like, wait, how is this possible? It truly works. It is scientifically proven. They have an incredible daily hair vitamin that I cannot recommend enough. It's their growth complex. So it's formulated with 8 of the highest quality, most bioavailable, science backed ingredients to grow longer, healthier, thicker hair in only 2 capsules a day. So I've taken hair vitamins before, and normally it's like this whole kit and caboodle routine, and it's just like too many pills, and I just can't do it. So 2 capsules a day. The superstar ingredient is cynatine, so cynatine, HNS, which is the most bioavailable form of keratin, and it's clinically proven to reduce shedding and extend the amount of time your hair stays in the growth phase and reduces the time it spends in the shedding phase. We all shed, we all grow hair, but truly this formulation has been scientifically proven to keep you in that growth phase for longer. It is manufactured in an FDA facility with third-party testing. I don't know if you know, but a lot of supplements, it's just kind of a wild west. It's very unregulated, but they are very, very, very focused on quality and potency. I love this brand so very much. So a lot of you have been asking about hair stuff, hair growth, all the things. So first and foremost, I highly recommend the daily supplement, but I have a few more recommendations for you. I love the Nourish and Repair Serum. So my hair breaks quite easily, or at the time it did. So this is an argan oil. It's rich in omega-6 fatty acids and antioxidants. It's really good for repairing damaged frizzy hair and split ends. I love, love, love the Nourish and Repair Serum. It also smells really, really great. And then I have a new ritual that I have literally been obsessed with. I deep condition my hair and I treat my scalp. The deep conditioning and treatment, a scalp treatment bundle is just a game changer. So it has a scalp massager. So it just gently exfoliates the scalp on a daily basis. It improves circulation and really encourages hair growth as well. And you can use this in conjunction with the Nourish and Repair Serum. It's just the best. It feels so good. You know when someone like rubs your head? Yeah, it's kind of like that. But this scalp massager is the bomb. So check out their other products. They have an incredible hairbrush. They have a silky beauty pillowcase. They have luxurious scrunchies. You're going to love Hair Love. I adore them and excited for you to get 20% off all non-subscription items when you use the code almost30 at hairlove.com. That's almost 30 for 20% off at hairlove.com. Enjoy and send me pics of your long, luxurious locks. I know a lot of you out there deal with different skin conditions, and a lot of you I know have eczema. Whether you have a child that has eczema, you have eczema. In fact, 16.5 million adults in the US have eczema. So October is National Eczema Awareness Month. Krista suffered from eczema when she was younger, and we are so, so, so excited to introduce you to a brand that really helps your eczema symptoms to be reduced safely and quickly and without steroids, which is incredible. So if you've been living with eczema, acne, or rosacea, you can really relate to the frustration of trying so many products, and just trying to figure it out. But with Glad Skin, you can expect something really, really, really different. It's a new category of skin treatment that is made for people of all ages with eczema-prone, acne-prone, and rosacea-prone skin. But what actually causes the itchiness, the redness, the inflammation, and discomfort, it's the disruption of the bacterial environment, also called the skin microbiome. So Glad Skin specifically works to target the imbalance in your skin's microbiome. Glad Skin uses microbalance. So this is a revolutionary protein that restores the balance of the good and bad bacteria that live on your skin so it can finally heal. It is so effective that 91% of users, adults and children who tried their top-selling eczema cream reported significant improvement after just 7 days. So don't wait. If you or someone you know struggles with eczema, rosacea, acne, try Glad Skin today. They have other products as well. Peruse the website. I know you're going to find something for you or someone you love. So if you've been frustrated with your treatment options, do not wait. Gladskin is the move. They are offering our listeners 15% off plus free shipping on your first order at gladskin.com/almost 30. That's GLADSKIN.com/almost 30. You'll get 15% off plus free shipping. Gladskin.com/almost 30. Ooh, I'm excited you're here, Jennifer Freed, in person. It's so nice. Coming down from Santa Barbara. I'm so curious when people move out of LA, or I don't know if you've always been in Santa Barbara, but what is it about the energy there that you just like thrive?
Well, for me, it's the combination of being nestled in the mountains and then right next to the coast. And I love nature as much as anything. So for me to be able to walk to the beach, hike in the mountains, and also where I live, it's not that crowded. And I have an acre and there's mountain lions and deers. And it just feels very nourishing.
Have you seen mountain lions?
Oh, yes.
Really?
Too close.
Really?
My
You have
cats
puppies and cats.
I have 2 cats that are outdoor cats, and I actually saw one of my cats, who thinks he's a lion, chase a bobcat out of the yard.
No way.
That is amazing.
I always think they're about to be eaten, and I live with that, but I love them, and I love where we live.
I love that. Yeah. I'm all about just letting them be free. The
Yeah.
animals know. So what's so intriguing about your work is the fact that you're a psychological astrologer. And I think we've had some amazing astrologers on. We've talked deep about astrology, but I've actually never heard the term psychological astrology. So I would love to dig into that and why it's different than normal astrology.
It's vastly different because I have a background in psychology for as long as I've been studying astrology. I have a PhD in psychology and have practiced as a marriage family therapist for so many years. And psychology gives us not just a perspective on cultural and biological and familial patterns and what dysfunctions people have and maybe how to help them move through them, but also in my background, I've also trained for years in social and emotional education. So I have this whole toolbox of how people can deal with what they're dealt, right? Whereas astrology as a practice in and of itself is your cosmic DNA. It's your map, and here's your map, and you can go here, you can go there. This is your timing. But a lot of astrologers have no training in counseling, in how to listen to people, in how to empower people. And I'm not saying that there's, a problem there. I'm just saying it took me a long time to understand that what most people need is to be safe, seen, and celebrated and empowered to make their own decisions instead of relying on me or astrology to tell them what to do. I don't think that in the end that's the design. It's a tool that somebody should use for their betterment and to help their community, but not as a crutch to explain their life and rationalize their patterns.
Yeah, it's very interesting actually that you say it in that way because in our space of spirituality, self-development, personal growth, there's so much that borders on therapy for people when you're in the space of doing a reading, whether you're a human design reader or astrology or a coach. And it's such an interesting thing to witness it happen in the community because you realize you're like, oh, this person that I've never met, this astrologer is now my therapist for this hour. They're learning about the deepest parts of me. They're asking them the most intimate questions. I'm going maybe deeper than I do with my family and friends because I'm in this space. So to have that nuance or understanding of the elements of therapy or psychology that you need to deploy in that situation is really, really important. So, what did you notice? Was that something where you're like, oh, there's a hole in this space? Or did you see sort of people not be held in the way that they should have been during readings? Or what was your journey to becoming to this place where you're like, I need to do this? I need to be someone that's going to support people in this way?
Yes, and it was a combination of I was always passionate to learn astrology, and concurrently, I was studying psychology. And I didn't really know I'd put them together till I was 30.
Past
And
your
then-
Saturn return? Or
Yeah.
during?
No,
Okay.
pass. And then I started creating a training institute and bringing people from all over the world to do seminars. But what happened to me as a astrology client is I had people say really horrible things to me, limiting things, fated things that weren't true. And I thought, wait a second, this was never meant to be, this is who you are, box you in. It's a portal to all you
Mhm.
can be. I call it your divine possibilities. So I hate it. And I've had to counsel so many people that got the astrology reading where you'll never have kids. You can't have a successful relationship. You'll end in divorce. Like, what's the point of that?
Mhm.
What is the point of telling people things that are going to forecast a limited future? I am not into that.
Mhm.
I was looking at someone on our team because they had a reading that said, "You're gonna be married twice, you're gonna get a divorce," and it's like, it's just which is fine if that's true, if you get a divorce and you are with 2 people, but to live your life and then sort of look at that as the expectation, and I've had so many readings like that that have been, like,
Predictive.
predictive and horrible,
Yeah.
and they do really alter the way that you interact with the world, and it's almost, like, predictive, and you put the energy towards it.
Well,
Mhm.
I'm highly impressionable. Some people are too. So if somebody gives me a script, I might follow it unconsciously because they've actually told me this is who you'll be. So in my readings and in my work, I want to open up the possibilities. You can be anything. You're not supposed to be your chart. You're supposed to transcend your chart. So if it's pointing in the direction of exciting and new relationships occurring frequently, that doesn't mean divorce. It could mean you take your relationship that you're committed to and you create a whole new paradigm within it. I have a divorce chart and I'm not divorced, in very
Mhm.
traditional astrology.
Yeah, I think of Mark for, and my therapist did this, where, learning as many layers of the person as possible as kind of jumping off points and points of reference, one being astrology. It's so helpful to fully understand, or at least start to fully understand a person. And I really love the cosmic DNA piece where it feels special, it feels unique, and I think there's so much stigma around whether it's certain signs. I mean, say Gemini, and some people are like, "Get away from me."
Uh-huh. I feel like Gemini has the most that.
Scorpio and
Scorpio.
Gemini.
Scorpio, okay.
So, like,
Mhm.
there's that
Mhm.
where, there's power and there's shadow in every sign. And so are you walking people also through kind of that shadow piece of the
Totally,
sign as
totally.
well? Can you
When I
speak to
sit
that?
with people and talk about their charts, we all have difficult patterns that we're learning from. And so I might be the first person to name that pattern as it shows up in the chart, but I don't name it as a designation. I would say something like, this particular pattern often reveals somebody that has obsessive traits. How is that for you? Is the way I'll
Mhm.
phrase it. Because I don't need to be right. I'm making an offering.
Yeah.
The person is the expert on themselves. That's where I ground my entire practice in. You know yourselves way better than this chart. This is just a skill I have to facilitate more self awareness, more optimal choice.
Yeah, I think that's super important because a lot of our community, we have a lot of astrologers in our community or healers, or they work with people in this capacity. And I think it's such a good point to call out. And it's something Lindsay and I very much try and do is get curious about, not, I have intuitive gifts and I will have feelings or intuitions. And it's very rare that I actually share them because oftentimes it can really shortcut someone finding something out on their own. But when you're talking about the difficult patterns, what would be okay, so say taking our charts as an example,
I'm looking at yours.
perfect. What are you looking at when you're finding the difficult patterns and what are our difficult patterns?
Well, anytime you have a square or an
Mhm.
opposition, that's a growth point.
Mm.
So those are always challenges.
Cool.
If you have a conjunction, it totally depends who's conjunct who, whether they like each other and want to be together. And so that could either be a benefit or a challenge. Now, for me, since we're all here on a personal growth mission, that's the only reason we're here. The challenge is fabulous. You know, you wouldn't get to do this podcast without all these challenges. There'd be no driver. The challenge is the friction of growth. So you want me to take one of your hard ones?
Let's do it.
Okay. So what I'm looking at is that you have Mars with Neptune, and that's a conjunction. And then you also have Sun in Pisces, and it's opposite your Virgo ascendant.
Mhm.
Okay. So let's just first talk about Pisces and Virgo. They're opposites. Pisces is water and Virgo is earth. Pisces, in its essence, is about merging and feeling, intuiting, and it's this cosmic understanding. But it's wordless, it's just a feeling, and it's in the big wow of the cosmos. Virgo is very particular, very specific, very discerning, and can be nitpicky and critical. So you can see how they're opposite. One's like, go with the flow, and the other is get your shit together and do it right, you know? So this is a tension you're born with, is balancing these two energies. And from looking at your face, I'm pretty intuitive. It looks like you're doing a great job. But it is like, how do I live in faith and still pay very close attention to the details and not let the details get so small in my mind that I've lost my faith, or not get so into the merging of feeling that I forget what I'm doing. So that's one of those challenges. A great challenge.
Yeah, my Virgo rising is my favorite quote of myself is, this could be better. Everywhere I go, I'm like, this could be better. Like everything.
Yes, and that's not a bad thing if you remember this could be better and it's already perfect.
Yeah.
And that's the
Well,
next
that's
line
nice.
you want to say to yourself is like, we can all improve. And in this moment, if it were our first or our last, it's perfect. So that's one. Should we go to another one?
Yeah, let's do one more.
Okay.
Lindsay's.
Okay, so then you have Saturn conjunct. Oh, I was going to talk about your Mars and Neptune. Okay, Mars and Neptune together. So Neptune is the planet of dissolution. It's like being in the cosmic dream. It's all water again, Neptune. So it's about just letting go and letting be. And Mars is the planet that represents action and getting things done. So from an early age, this would say, so you tell me, that you might have had somebody in your early life that was undependable or not particularly reliable.
That's true.
Yeah.
This is a true statement.
Do you want to say who it was? Or
It was
not?
my mom.
Okay. So that shows in the chart. So that's an early challenge. You know, many people with this aspect, I'm not going to say this is true about your mother, but lived with some alcoholism or substance abuse or something like that. Okay. We don't have to dive into that. Okay. But when you have an unreliable parent figure, sometimes you feel lost in what you're supposed to do or how you're supposed to be. So this becomes a challenge again of finding your road without being rigid in response to somebody that was undependable, but also you yourself have to resist temptations to want to check out. Does that make sense?
Because the Neptune's the checkout.
Yeah.
The Mars is the
Get
get
things
things
done.
done. Okay.
Like, this isn't you because the rest of your chart I can tell, but I read for a guy that had Mars, Neptune, a couple of guys that were porn addicts or sex addicts or drug addicts, because the Mars with the Neptune is like, I want to go somewhere other than here.
Yeah.
I want to be out of here.
So how could you tell that was, so my mom's not an addict, but there are different other, experiences.
Yeah.
But how did you know that was a figure outside of my own? Like, I guess, why didn't you think that was me with the addiction?
Oh, well, it could have turned out to be you.
Okay.
This is your chart. But
Okay.
in your birth chart, you didn't come in with that
Got it.
problem.
Okay.
And it's in your
Got
house
it.
of home and family. So it indicates a
Oh,
parental
house.
figure.
So it's in the fourth house.
correct.
Okay, got it. Perfect. So then my Neptune and my Mars are in the fourth house.
Yes.
And they're both Capricorn.
Yes.
Okay.
But so what would be ideal for you if I were to help you design your perfect environment? It would be in Santa Barbara with the
Same.
mountains and the water.
I'm ready.
No, because you have Earth,
Yes.
Capricorn, but that Neptune Mars wants to be near water.
Say no more.
What's stopping you?
From moving?
No, to like a Santa Barbara.
I think what's stopping me is Erewhon.
Totally.
Honestly.
The food?
But yes, I'm very
Give her the options up in SB.
okay, this is last question about me and then we're
Yeah.
moving on.
Okay.
The only question I want to ask is I'm deeply about my relationships and my connections. My community means so much to me. I'm very extroverted. But is that me being a false self? Is that my real self?
Well, is it? You're the
I
only one that
don't
can
know.
answer
That
that.
Pisces part of me, I'm like, am I just like
Merging
putting
into
on?
everybody else?
Yes.
I can sit with you and say you seem pretty genuine.
Okay.
So you have to answer that question.
I
And especially if
feel-
you're turning 30, this is a huge piece I want to say astrologically. The way I think of it is up until 29, your life script was written by someone else. When you're 29 to 31, you start to write your own life script and you're the author. The whole point of Saturn return is authority from the word author. So when you ask me, am I a fake or not? I'd say to you, only you can answer that.
Okay.
I love.
What do you think?
I'm not a fake.
Mm-mm.
I don't believe I'm a fake, but I do believe that I am curious about if I am as deeply needing of relationships and connection with people. Like if I could be in Santa Barbara and just be like hanging out by myself all the time.
But I feel like
You
you
just
would make a new
answered it.
community.
But also you just answered it.
What did I say?
You said, and I listened deeply, I'm so deeply connected to people. That's your truth.
Okay.
That
That's a
doesn't
good
mean
one.
where you are.
That's a good one.
That's who you are.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd meet a community. This is too much. Too much of the therapy. Okay. Okay. Now to Lindsay's
We like it.
issues and problems.
Yeah.
What's wrong?
Let's move the spotlight.
Yeah, literally. Difficult patterns. Okay.
But I do want to make a pitch for something.
Mm-hmm.
I would really like Creation and Erewhon to move to Summerlin, right where I live. And I know it would be, if anyone's willing to do this, you would never have one spare moment.
Yeah.
People would
Billions.
go there.
They would make
Especially
billions a
since
year.
there's been this big flight into Montecito with all the celebrities. And,
Yes.
Yeah.
you know, those
you
two
joking?
places. And there is a place for rent in Summerlin, I'm just saying. A big
Okay.
place.
Okay.
Let's manifest
need
it. Everyone
big.
lift this prayer.
Yeah.
Okay.
I need
I'm
mansion.
very practical with a Taurus moon, and I love food as much as you. So
Okay.
it's like, I actually need those places to be right near my
Yeah.
house.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Right near
follow that.
Montecito, right in Summerlin. Perfect. It's called the Yellow House, is for rent.
Okay. I'm going to
I
look
feel
it up.
like they're probably
And
in the
ghosts live
works.
there at the Yellow House. One of the
That
reasons
is absolutely why I won't be there. I cannot do that. I'm so
they're
too
good
sensitive.
ghosts, though. No, they're really happy, good ghosts. They just want a good clientele. They
They just
used
wanna
to be there
hang.
with a restaurant and
Oh.
would visit with the staff and visit with the people. Lots of sightings, lots of recognition. And then they didn't like who moved in. They kick them all out. We need a new vibe.
Oh,
my God.
wow.
But then I have to go in and like see if I'm accepted. I'm like, no plates moved, nothing's rattling. I'm doing well.
Okay, let's go to Lindsay, humble Lindsay. Okay, so actually, that is where I'm going to start with what would be challenging for you. You have Sun, Mars, and Venus in Virgo and a Libra rising. So you're incredibly affable, very sacrificing, very thoughtful, considerate human being. And I think the difficult part is owning what I call your seventh house Aries.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's the challenge. When you have this much otherness, Lindsay, it's like, how are you? And what's it like for you? And are you doing okay? And like, I can hear your inner voice. Then when your seventh house is Aries, that's the quality you want to own in order to be whole. And Aries is look at me. What about me? How am I doing? What do you think of me? And that is your growth point in a chart like this.
And my North Node's in Aries.
Is it? It's not on this chart. Oh, yes, it is.
Which is
Very
interesting.
good. Yeah. So for me, I didn't really come into my wholeness and happiness till I owned my seventh house placement. And I want to say to all of you people that are listening to this, look at the sign on your seventh house and any planet in your seventh house. That's what you tend to project on other people, good or bad. And when you fully embrace and own that quality, that's when life gets more fluid, harmonious, and also you feel your self-worth.
Mm-hmm.
Does everyone have something in their seventh house?
Everyone has a sign on their seventh
Okay.
house. It doesn't necessarily mean they have a planet there.
Got it. Okay.
Anyway, you have Jupiter in Aries in the seventh. So your challenge would be to be on a billboard in New York City with only you.
I'm kind of down for that,
That's a good one.
but yeah, I understand what you're saying. There
That
is
means
a,
I have to.
No, it means that
Die.
you'd be like this in the billboard, lifting her
Yes.
up. You'd
I'm
be
turning on the lights.
Yeah, yeah. That would be good.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting thing. I think there's
100%.
a humbleness that I grew up with or was taught when I was younger where it's
Mhm.
like be humble but also be a star. And I'm
Yeah.
like, how do you do that?
Yeah.
But I hear that. And then in relationship in years past, I've definitely been self-sacrificing and kind of all about the other person without necessarily listening to or tending to my own needs, desires, and all of that. And that kind of dimmed my light a bit. But I feel like I am in a place where I'm much more, I'm able to hold the pose and um, not self-deprecate in those moments or not be like too painfully humble, like really owning.
Yeah.
It's a practice, but I feel more of that lately. But I've been curious about that Aries energy lately, how I can kind of bring more of that or embody more of that. Aries is like the fire.
It's fire. It's the first sign. It's I am. It's declarative. It's confidence. It's bold.
Mhm.
It's pioneering. And it doesn't, in its essence, think about other people,
Mhm.
except in protectiveness, if there's an underdog or something. But I think for you to own that energy, it sounds like you've already been doing it. Good for you. Learned the lesson. Is just to take time each day to ask the important core questions. What is my need right now? What is my desire right now? Am I aligned with my core values? Am I having a mutual relationship or am I feeling out of balance in this relationship? And then speaking into what it is you most want and allowing the other person to do that as well as a negotiation instead of folding to make get along to go along.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah. Aries, baby.
One more time with the seventh house. So the seventh house represents what people can look at the seventh house and the sign that's next to the seventh house to represent what they're projecting on people.
Yes, and especially a partner,
Okay.
like the person
Got
that
it.
you think you want to be with usually will have a certain level of those qualities.
Got it.
And
Mm.
so until you work that out and brought it back into yourself, you might disavow those qualities, give them to the other, and then later on go, God, I hate them for that.
Mhm.
You know how that
Yeah.
happens?
I think Esther Perel talks about that. She says, oftentimes in relationship, the first thing that attracted to us ends up being the thing that annoys us the most down the line.
Yeah, because I
That's
think
interesting.
otherness is what is chemistry.
Yeah.
Otherness is chemistry. So,
Polarity.
yeah, whether it's same sex, other sex, all the sexes, whatever they are now,
Mhm.
it's otherness. So often we have a certain pattern of you hold this and I'll hold that. But if it gets too split and very polarized, then it becomes a resentment because neither person develops the other side. And we're all seeking wholeness, even initially, if we want compatibility and attraction, and you do this and I'll do that. On a soul's path, we're really looking to call ourselves beloved and have company.
That's beautiful.
What's my seventh house?
Oh,
Just
I knew you'd
curious.
be asking.
What do you mean?
You're so obvious.
What do you
She's like
mean?
she's been like
What do you
biting
mean?
to get to
I
that.
need to know what I'm projecting on partners.
Krista,
I'm
you are
guessing.
a crack up because your tells are all over the place. She's looking at her, she's looking at it.
I love it.
Okay. What do you
Because-
think it is? What are you projecting on there? Let's give you a test.
Oh,
Okay,
that's
this is
fun.
I love this
She
test.
loves
Okay.
these.
Okay. So, what qualities do you tend to get really attracted to in other people? What is it they have? Come on, bring it.
Sense of humor,
Mm-hmm.
kindness,
Mm-hmm.
empathy,
Mm-hmm.
clarity, like if they're clear.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Kind, empathetic,
Yes.
clear, soft, warm.
Taurus,
Pisces.
Pisces. I project Pisces onto people?
Yes, clearly you do.
Wow. And I'm a Pisces.
And that's a little bit kind of confusing.
yes.
All right. So are you currently, I don't know your love life, are you with somebody
Mhm,
right now? And is that person all those things?
yes.
That's fabulous.
Yes.
Look what you did.
Yes.
Okay. And does that person recognize that you're super kind and empathetic and that you're really considerate? Or do you play out more the critic judge in
More
that?
critic judge.
So, see, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay, got it.
You want to say,
Got it.
I'm assuming it's a he, you're
Yep.
with a he.
Mhm.
Okay. He's so kind. He's so loving. He's so warm. And like, we admire that. I do. I'm not exactly
Yeah.
all those things. My partner is that too. But actually, you're that.
Yeah, I think it flip-flops. Either I'm being critic judge or they're being.
Okay.
But that's also kind of the power dynamic within where it's like victim,
Yeah, but
perpetrator
I
vibe.
think you can just recognize at your deepest level, you're an incredibly kind and caring person. And for you, since we're now back at you, your chart requires time alone in order to find that kindness. So even as you're a conductor and a networker and extroverted, as you say, that's not where you fuel up with the kindness.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
That's
That's kind of the
interesting.
message I'm looking for with the moving.
That's beautiful.
It's like if that's the truth of the essence, I know my truth is also connection, but that is that part of me.
Yeah, I don't think a geographic's going to change your relationship to finding time alone
Yeah.
because you are a people person.
Mhm.
I think it's not the big moves in our life that matter. It's the small daily
Yeah.
moves. So for me, you don't have kids yet. So I spend, because my kids are out of the house, an hour and a half in the morning doing all my spiritual exercises before I'm connecting with people. And even still, because I'm more introverted, by 3:00, I'm done with people.
Yeah.
Like,
Feel
it's like
that.
I'm done.
Feel that.
Because I'm really intense and I want to be with the people.
Mhm.
And then it's like, oh, please let me lay on my bed and read a book.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think for you, it's just getting, Virgo, a routine of being alone that isn't on any device,
Mhm.
that's doing some kind of spiritual activity for you that brings you home to yourself. And that won't matter where you are, that will fuel your kindness
Mm. Yeah.
because it's being kind to
that.
you.
Yes. And it's that nourishment.
Okay, do you feel
That's
left
beautiful.
out?
No,
Okay, just
no,
making
it's
sure.
fascinating. I love
Yeah.
it.
Oh, but that's
That's
we
the
gotta
humbleness.
we gotta bring the Aries though. The Aries says,
pissed.
yeah.
Talk
The Aries
about
says it's my
me.
turn.
Put me on a billboard.
Yes.
Oh my God, you two are fun.
Fascinating. What's interesting, I mean, we've talked about this before in other conversations, but the fact that Krista and I, she's a Pisces, I'm a Virgo, opposite ends of the chart. Is there anything else interesting about our
tons. You two
partnership?
have so much good stuff.
And then
going
we'll start
together.
talking about
yes,
ourselves?
and then we're done.
No, why not?
I enjoy
People
it.
want to hear
They
about
do.
you.
That's true.
I have
That's
a
true.
Pisces North Node and Virgo South Node.
You have a lot more going for you two than just what you just said.
Yeah.
So, for example, because your rising, Krista, is Virgo, and so that is connected deeply and very geometrically to all your Virgo stuff. So when you have a Virgo rising, you're also sourcing for who can get it done like I can. Well, you pick the right person. Okay, then beyond that, you have this Libra rising, and that goes beautifully with the part of you, Krista, that really likes beauty. You know, you're very drawn to beauty and symmetry, and this is a very big feature of yours. And also you're accommodating and kind, that issue that you like. And so that really works. And then furthermore, the moon sign is very, very good. You have opposite moon signs. So
I
you
I didn't know that either.
Oh, that's
well,
fascinating.
Lindsay, you have a Gemini moon, and Krista has a Sagittarius moon. And the moon sign is the most predictive of how compatible people will actually be.
Oh, that's cool.
The moon sign. Because your emotional needs are not negotiable. So either they're a good click or they're not. It doesn't mean I can't be close to people when the moon signs are not compatible, but it's not going to be a home fit. It's going to be a workout. This is not, I mean, opposite moon signs are like this and that. As long as you respect the way that you're emotionally responding to things, then it's a beautiful ping pong. Oh, you feel that way and I feel that way. And there's some real embrace of the totality. You're covering both spectrums. But that's a really nice thing to have moon opposite moon, especially in a combination of creativity.
Very cool. My Gemini can get a little freaky.
Yeah.
which
all
is
over the place.
good.
Yeah,
We
I'm a
That's
like
wave.
good.
freaky.
I'm a wave.
I feel like normal has been so overrated and doesn't even exist. So what we're calling
100%.
freaky is just being authentic.
Completely.
Yep,
For
that's
people that are
true.
reading, I want to do two things with this question. For those that are getting sessions, how could they lead it in a way that they're not having the doom and gloom sort of predictions if they're seeing an astrologer? And then the other end is for people that are reading, what are some advice you would give to them so that they are more opening, they are more positive?
Exactly. Well, I'm training this one guy in Brooklyn, and he's a great guy, and he's in his 20s. And I've just really said to him, never say something with certainty. That's oppressive. Somebody has to agree with you.
Mm.
That's subjugating somebody. Always say something as a question. Like, is it possible that Saturn opposed the moon relates to some kind of emotional repression you felt as a child? Ask it as a question. Never have to be right over the client. The client is the source and the expert. Ask more questions than you do telling people things. And here's my biggest one, have them speak more than you. I've had the astrology reading where the person talks nonstop for 50 minutes, doesn't ask me a thing, kind of doesn't even matter if I'm there. They're just reading me. And I end up feeling like, wow, I just got a dose of a lot of information that I have no idea what I'll do with. It's just like a mind dump.
Mm.
And that's not where I live. I don't live just in the information. I live in an embodied, soulful recognition of things. And I want some tools. So for those astrologers that are learning, ask questions more than tell people. And also, always the insecure new astrologers feel like they have to nail it. They have to get it right. And it's like, no, if you're wrong, that's information too. So if I say to you, because let's say to you, you do have Saturn oppose the moon in your chart. And that would often indicate, not always, that there wasn't an environment where you weren't necessarily allowed to be fully expressed with all your feelings. Is that true?
Yeah.
And then you say, and how is that true? Have them tell you. That's how I learned
Love.
astrology. The clients will tell you.
Beautiful.
How did it happen that you got shut down on occasion emotionally?
I think a few ways. Like I was the oldest child,
Oh, yeah, there you go.
so I
Say
kind of
no
felt
more.
like I needed to not disrupt the family dynamic,
Mhm.
or there was like kind of other conflict going on. So like I felt like I couldn't be fully expressed
Mm.
because there was already
So super
kind of stuff.
responsible emotionally from a young age. You
Very.
were already what we call the parentified child. You know that
Yeah.
term?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do. Mhm.
Okay, so then we talk about that, and then if we wanted to, and I was in a session with you, I would talk about whatever cycle or transit is affecting that complex right now, and how you want to move through it. So basically, my advice to young astrologers is two things: do your own inner work. Don't make astrology your need to be mirrored and be amazing, because that's what a lot of people are doing. Like, look at me,
That's
I'm
so
so
true.
amazing.
Biggest facts.
Turn the power and the light over to the person. When you're doing a great reading, the person walks away thinking, I'm amazing, not Jennifer's amazing. Okay, that's number one. Number two, keep studying. Don't just do the apps and like the little readouts. Read books. There are amazing books on astrology from so many centuries. Dig in. It's a real journey of knowledge that's not just informative, but it's also self-healing to read all the books.
What were some books that transformed you on your journey?
Well, every single book out of the this is where psychological astrology, Liz Greene, Howard Susportis, there's like a British group of psychological astrologers I love. My big teacher that taught me a lot and still good friend, Rick Tarnas, Cosmos and Psyche. He is a philosophic astrologer, amazing. So not psychology, but he's a cultural astrologer. I love Caroline Casey, many, many people. Stephen Arroyo. Read the frickin' books.
It's important. Yeah.
I'm a big believer in reading.
I know, me too. We both of us are.
Yeah.
Having the actual physical book too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my
Annotating.
God.
Yes. Feels so good.
Mhm.
You mentioned about 29 to 31 and that that period in time being important. A lot of our audience, they're in their 20s, they're in their early 30s. We have audience all over the world in all ages, but the reason why I ask around this age is because this is how we started the podcast and it felt so transformational for us. What's sort of happening astrologically for folks during that time?
Well, that is the Saturn return time. And basically, that's when the planet Saturn returns to its birth position. So in your chart, Saturn was in a certain place when you were born. It returns to that exact position between 29 and 31. Saturn is the planet of karma, consequence, discipline, maturity, authority, and time. So when it goes back to that natal position, it's asking the question, who do you define yourself to be? Are you doing the work of fully being you? So one thing I notice, because I work with all ages, if people are doing their work, that Saturn return is incredibly fruitful. Like that's when I bought my first house. And even though I was crying, oh my God, I'll never be able to pay the mortgage, I was really upset about it. But it was a really major commitment to myself that I'm going to earn this money and do that. But if people are resisting growing up, the Saturn return is brutal. If they're like the people that say, I never want to grow up and I like being a kid and why do I have to work and all that stuff, Saturn returns brutal because Saturn is that sledgehammer of reality. So if you haven't faced reality and been real with yourself about your talents, but also your deficits, Saturn can be very hard. So I'm telling everyone, and Saturn happens every 7 years. So you're never getting away from Saturn. And I love Saturn. So that is unpopular to say. People often like, oh, when will it be over? Saturn is the character maker. And if you're about making a great contribution this lifetime, you love Saturn because Saturn is going to put your ass in the chair and you're going to do the work. Or be depressed and, victim and
loser.
Yeah. Like, here's another one I want to say to people, and very unpopular as a therapist to say this, but if you're still blaming your parents at 30, you're in trouble.
Yo.
I mean, I did.
I'm down.
Wait, I did. It didn't work out well
Yeah.
to do that.
It's very unattractive.
It's
And it also just,
unattractive.
you're not taking responsibility.
Yeah.
You're stuck. It's like,
I understand because people want to be heard in their pain. It's just you're no longer living with your parents. It's up to you what kind of life you make and the trauma that you've gone through. And I went through trauma and lots of people go through trauma. It's up to you to heal that.
Yep.
You can't hold people from the past responsible for who you are now at that age.
You said Saturn, you mentioned a 7-year cycle.
It's every 7 years. Mm-hmm.
That was every 27.
27. So
That's
what is
a
that?
Saturn return.
Okay.
Every 28 to 30, you go through your Saturn return. But Saturn makes an angle to Saturn every 7 years. So every 7 years, you're in a review of how far you've come with your own work curriculum.
Wow.
Your own soul's work curriculum.
Beautiful.
Isn't it weird too? Don't your cells renew every 7 years?
I think
all
it's
the
something
cells in your
like
body,
that.
and then your taste buds. There's biological, physiological things that happen too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think 7 years is a very, very important thing. It's often when marriages break up, 7 years, 14
7-year
years,
itch.
21 years, 28
Yes.
years, because people hit a spot of real, difficulty, challenge, friction. And some people meet that and go, we're going to bust through that and get stronger and better. Because that's the other thing about Saturn. If you're having a really hard time, it's like setting the bone better than when it was,
Yeah.
or it can be the end of something.
Mm-hmm. I feel like how did you feel overall about your Saturn return?
I don't know, it's hard because my awakening and my Saturn return were around the same time. I had my awakening when I was 26, or just my reawakening, but then my Saturn return started when I was 28. So I don't really know. It's hard to mix the two, but I think I was at the corporate job trying to do a bunch of different things.
Yep.
It felt like there was a lot of friction, to be honest.
Well, yeah, I didn't have an easy one
Yeah.
either, but looking back, that was one of the most formative
Deeply.
growth periods of my
Mhm.
life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
deeply
And
important.
so I do want to flash forward to anyone that's older. I've been in a Saturn period now for 2.5 years to my sun, my moon. But now knowing what I know, I'm not like, well, Saturn. I just really went, I'm going to be in a really productive period.
Mm.
And sure enough, right? I wrote my book, I did the things. But the complaining and the whining is good for a moment. But really, you want to look at those Saturn possibilities and say, what could I manifest in this time if I
Mm.
put in the effort? Oh, and I have something I've been really thinking about I want to share with all of
Yes,
you.
please.
Let's hear it.
In my book thing right now, I have to make a lot of asks and it's really hard. You know how that is.
Mhm.
So a really close friend of mine said, "Oh, I just always thought you're so good at that." And I went, "You know what's really weird about being good at something? People don't realize it's because you make a lot of effort. There's a lot of fantasy that if people are good at something, it comes easily to them and there's no effort." And I want to clarify to all of the
Mm.
people right now, when somebody looks effortless at something, it's because they've put in a ton of effort. And I think this about you two and doing this show. It's a lot of work to fly from Brooklyn to meet up, to figure out your show,
Your
to get your
hair and
people, well, whatever, to keep yourselves looking good. That's a huge
Yeah.
piece. But I just really want to demystify that because I know I grew up thinking, God, it should be easy if I'm
Mm.
going to do it
Mhm.
instead of, no, actually something that you put a lot of time into and craft, you could end up looking like it's really easy, but you're actually a master at it. That's why it looks that way.
I love that you said that. Thinking about, we're technically millennials, but thinking about the younger generations, bless them, I think they're like so powerful in so many ways. And I think there's an aspect to what they see through social media and other forms of consumption where they're seeing lives of people and they're like, oh, they kind of want to skip the steps.
Completely.
And they're like, why do I have to work this hard? I just want to fill in the blank. And I think there is just so much fulfillment and purpose to that part of the process that, like, we know very, very well, starting on our closet floors, like the 7-year process that we've been in, that makes what we do now, yes, look perhaps effortless, but makes it more fulfilling.
You earned it.
Yeah.
And I can also tell you, because I work with billionaires, millionaires, people that have inherited a ton of money, when people haven't felt like they've earned something, they tend to destroy it.
Yes.
Ooh.
Mhm.
Wow.
So the earning is a huge piece of what makes something fulfilling. I have a funny story. My granddaughter is 8, and for the first time, her parents were letting her watch the Olympics, and she really liked the ice skating. So we were saying to her, we're all very close. Well, Nora, if you want to start skating, it's like you have to do 5, 6 hours a day to be this good. And she said with complete authority, no, no, I could just do like a day a week and be that good. And it's that thought, like,
Yes.
no, they have to do that work,
Yes.
but I am special and I'll just
I love her.
magically skate right into the Olympics.
I kind of thought that way when I was younger. And
Right?
then rude awakening. And then I would quit. I'd be like, I'm out.
Would you say then that Saturn's the planet of manifestation?
It is. It is that is the planet you have to work with to manifest. And I want to also say people have gotten very confused by this whole manifest love, manifest money crusade, because unless it's aligned with greater spirit and a generosity toward life and community, if it's only self referencing, they've missed the whole point. You can manifest anything, but if it's just for your self embellishment, I've never met a person that's happy getting it. Never, not once.
Mm. So is it the intention when you manifest, or is it
It's like the why. Why? Why do
Mm.
you want that sexy hot guy? Why?
Mhm.
What do you think it's going to give you? Like, you're both in relationship, right?
Mhm.
And I'm 26 years in. And maybe you have a relationship too.
Engaged.
Oh my God,
Mhm.
he's so cute.
I know.
Anyway,
isn't he?
my point is this. One hopes that you find that person and everything else is solved. because that's how the ego works. Like, if I get this,
Yes.
Oh, I
then,
see. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
then it's all set. It's just the opposite from true. You just have that, and then the ego wants that, and the ego wants that. Whereas if you say, I want this partner, I'm going to manifest this partner for the why of so that I can be more generative in the world, so that I can give more to other people, so that my love is transformative on this planet, you have a lot better shot of being happy that you find it.
Mm,
It's like
It-
the ego versus the soul
yeah.
yeah,
manifestation.
Yeah.
powerful.
Which is so key. I want to talk about the elements, fire, air, water, earth. I went on a retreat recently and it was all elemental, which was really beautiful. But I want to talk about the elements as it relates to the chart.
Great. So this is my next book called A Map to Your Soul, and it's all about the elements in the 12 domains or 12 houses. I can't wait for you to read it. It's not
Cannot
out yet.
wait.
But the elements are fire, earth, air, and water. And these are the core elements of consciousness and manifestation and life itself. So the fire element is the dynamic, the bold, the charismatic, the magnetic, the impulsive. It's all that fire. Just think of the element of fire, and it's just mesmerizing and it can be destructive and all of that. Earth is the stabilizing, the grounded, the practical. It's something you can depend on and stand on and feel solid. And you can also be stuck and rigid and obstinate and all of that. And then you have air, which is the expansive, the visionary, the transcendent, and the logic and the words and the ideas and the mind. And then you could be scattered, gossipy, vain, all the low air things, a blowhard. And then there is water, and water is the element of feeling, compassion, empathy, sensitivity, sweet heartedness, and it can be clingy, whiny, babyish, and victimy. So those are the four elements, and we have all four elements inside everybody's chart. But most of us preference in the way we live in different domains certain elements. My book is all about a fully expressed life, is learning that you can be all the elements. And again, then you become more embodied as a whole human being. So, for example, you two are quite heavy on earth. That's fabulous. I love the earth. I have a lot of Taurus, earth, moon energy. So that is high on the side of being dependable, getting things done, productive, etc. You're not high, either one of you, on fire. So you could, if you wanted to lean into fire, you could be much more outrageous, much more rebellious, much more colorful. I see your studio is quite colorful, but you two could wear reds and oranges. I dare you to wear an orange satin coat.
Cool.
Oh,
I'm just saying,
I love.
you put the fire into your life and you see less of the negative fire outside of you. So when you own, again, the element, if you don't own fire, you're around people somewhere in your life that seem narcissistic, that seem dramatic, that seem very self-centered, and also can be quite angry because that's a fiery thing.
Wow.
So I say, own the frickin' fire, and then those people will just somehow not be as figurative in your life.
Wow. That's very true.
So
for
you
me.
two,
Powerful.
so you
That's
two,
very-
fire, hit the fire hydrant. Do
Very
it.
true for me.
Okay, so you wear the orange satin, and I think you could rock a purple velvet something.
Yes.
Totally.
Cat suit.
Yes.
Oh, cat suit.
Yes.
Tight.
So we'll wear more fire. Is there any rituals we can do?
Yes,
And this applies to
yes.
all elements.
Everybody, but for
yeah.
the fire, more role plays.
Okay.
You two could do more theater.
I am down. I'm down. I tried last night in the
car.
We were role playing.
Yeah. Well,
You were like, I was going to do this. I'm like, let's do it.
But I mean, you could actually, as part of the show, pretend you're other people, do voices, be much more dramatic and outrageous
Cool.
and taking risks. That's very fiery.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
I see. When I think about fire, it's pardon my fire family. I always think of the shadow of like the scorpion sting. Like I think of just like the anger.
Well, Scorpio's water
Water.
and stings differently. But you know what? I have a lot of fire and I have a temper. So I can now tell you a little bit about the fire
Tell me.
people. the anger that we are easily in touch with is like so thrilling. It's like driving a
Mm.
fast car. It's so fun for us. It means not that much to us.
Ah,
See,
I
you
love that.
all are like, whoa, it's
Yeah, dude.
anger.
Honestly.
We're like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
honestly.
oh, please don't be mad."
Yes. Yes.
And actually, it's so
Oh,
freeing to just be able to, have
That's
a
my dream.
temper fit. And for
okay.
me, it's over. For
Mhm.
some others, it lasts.
Mhm.
I've had to really work on it in my relationship. I'm with a
Mhm.
softie. So,
Yes.
but you got to know. And I have a really good man friend, and he's king of everything. And he's got so much fire. He just can get fired up over breakfast. It's thrilling
Mm.
for him. It's an adrenal hit.
Yeah. Mhm.
It's
Okay.
testosterone.
Cool.
But for you all that are not, gonna be angry little maniacs, you could pretend that you're angry and do a little role play about
Okay.
it and act out being
Okay.
angry.
Fuck you.
Totally.
Act out. You could act out a best friend fight.
Okay.
Totally.
Yeah.
See how much, but watch how the energy rises even talking about it.
That's true.
Uh-huh.
It's like fear
Yes.
and a little embarrassment, but
and a little sex.
What's thrilling for more earthy people like us?
Yes. Yeah, literally. Yes.
Okay.
I'm like, tell me about our thrill.
Yeah.
No, you can't really put earth and thrill
Okay,
together.
Yeah.
got it.
However, I would say
Grounding.
satisfaction is a word,
Oh, I
or
love
accomplishment
satisfaction.
is a word, an earth
Yeah.
word.
Yeah.
So, it's going to sound so banal compared to fire, but getting things accomplished, crossing off your list, landing a huge money deal, getting a gorgeous dress, a beautiful car. I mean, these are,
Yeah.
I don't know how thrilling.
Turning me on.
I
Yeah.
know. I'm like,
Say no more.
absolutely.
Like beautiful decor and aesthetic.
Guess what? Going to the spa of your dreams and
What
somebody
do you
gifting you an
mean?
all-day treatment.
Yes.
Yeah, feel that.
So what people can do then for anyone that's listening to understand which element they can understand the element they sort of lean more to that they're comfortable with, and then the element that they can bring more into their life by looking at all of the.
They don't even have to look at their chart, and that's how I wrote the book too. We all know. We all know. When I just say what the elements are,
Oh, that's cool.
everyone actually knows, oh, I'm not so watery. I'm not the softest, sweetest, empathetic person I could be. That would be me. But they'll know. Or like, I am a real gossip, or I'm just totally like, the people that talk nonstop and never
Yes.
listen, that's air. They know who they are.
Yeah.
People start going, oh, see you later. Gotta
Yeah.
go.
Oh,
And
my
then so
goodness.
I want to talk about more about the rituals too.
Sure.
So what would be some rituals that you could do related to water and related to air?
Well, let's talk about the water. So to get more in touch with that softer, sweeter, empathetic, watery side, obviously you can take a bath and put some candles on. And it's a lot about self-compassion. For me to get into my soft side is first to say, oh, Jennifer, you did snap at that person. It was horrible. But, you're lovable and you're really kind. And then, like, I did something yesterday that was like a great water practice. A guy that I really love as a friend kind of dissed me, and it really hurt me. And my first reaction would be anger. And then I went, you know what? Think bigger. He's having a hard time. So instead, I wrote him a love text. I'm really missing seeing you. This is, what I thank you for. I just went to water instead of fire. So it's like your go-to move, try another move. And for water, it's always kindness, understanding, compassion. It's slower, it's not fast. You all know this. And also for me, like with my partner, I always ask the question, how may my love serve you inside my head? So I try to start with that patient question, how may my love serve you? I think far too often in relationship, we're looking for the validation and the service from the other. But I know in my long-term relationship, if I'm really loving, things go way better. So that's water. Hit the love, the compassion, the slow, the bath, the whole thing. And for air, really get into mindful listening and speech. There is no better practice in the world than being more considerate about what you're saying and how you're listening. And I have a quote that I'd like to go viral. Brevity is social charity.
Clip it. We're going viral, baby.
I love
Brevity
that.
is social charity. So at my nonprofit that my partner and I founded, it's just such a workout to have people just say what they mean to say and not more than that. And some people talk just to hear themselves, or they don't think anyone's listening, so they repeat 1,000 times. So for air, actually think of every word as an energy that you're sending. And every word somebody is saying to you is an energy you're receiving, and get so much more conscious about this whole communication area.
I love that. The listening is an art, I think, that we've learned just within our work, but there is something to the listening, not only of the words, but of the energetics, just the what's going on a little bit deeper. And I think we've kind of learned that even in podcasting, where thankfully we're in person and we can kind of pick up on
Nuances.
Mhm.
Well, you two are exquisite listeners. I've been on many podcasts, and I'm not kidding, where the person's never listening.
I know it
Yeah.
should be illegal.
That's
It
more
honestly,
often
the
than
cops.
not.
You need to call the cops next time because that hurts. For me, that's a tender when you're speaking and people aren't listening. That's probably
Mhm.
my top 3 most painful moments. So to be on that's painful.
Mhm.
Also, we are in a overly distracted society. So if you want to work on air, leave your phone home for hours of the day. There's nothing that urgent. Yesterday I was at the beach going swimming in the ocean, and I'm not exaggerating. Every single person laying on the towel on a gorgeous day was staring at their phone. And I thought, wow, we have really been brainwashed. That we
Truly.
think this device is going to give us more than the gorgeous, perfect ocean with the seal that they weren't seeing or the dolphin because they're on their freaking phone. So end distractions, leave your phone at home, see if you can actually be where you are.
Was that all 4? Did I catch all 4?
Yeah, we did the air, we did the water.
Oh,
we
if you
did
need more
fire.
earth, you didn't
More
even
earth.
want. Yeah,
No,
if
I
you
want
want
some
We
more
want
earth.
more earth, baby.
But if some
Always.
people need more earth, that's very specific. You actually have to have routines that you do no matter what. Like you wouldn't skip brushing your teeth, I don't think. But people skip other things all the time. Like I said, I would work out. I said I would drink water. It's those little routines that if you want to get in touch with earth, be more dependable to yourself first and foremost, and do some actual practices that involve your hands, your body, like that.
What's been so helpful, I think, over the last couple years where there's just been quite a lot going on collectively, has been kind of this, I don't want to say predictive because it doesn't feel like that. It's, there are transits, there are things happening astrologically, and to understand what is to come helps me, at least, like really ground and not be swept up by the energy. So, looking forward, we are right now, end of summer, recording this, but even looking towards like the new year, are there some transits or things happening astrologically that we could be aware of so that we can be in our
Yeah.
be in our power?
Yes. Well, I want to give a general 2022 because I don't know when this comes out, and I want everyone to be excited for the end of 22.
Yes.
And then 2023 is a major, major shift. So we're getting ready for that shift. And I want to say to everybody, what's your preparation plan? Here's what is going to be extremely important in the end of 2022 and then going toward 2023. Who's in your sacred crew? That is the seminal question. And let me define that. Your sacred crew is 10 to 12 people that have your back, that love you, that will praise you when things are going well, that will hear you when things are going not well, and that basically you could call or text at any time, any day, and they would try their best to be there for you. The reason you need 12 is because not everyone's available. But you want to make an actual contract with these people that we're heading into a time where the sacred crew is essential. So let's define what that means to us. Because what's happening is there's going to be great disruption the rest of 2022, like massive disruption. I don't know because I don't predict the things, I just know the energy. And then come 2023, Pluto moves out of Capricorn, where it's been showing us that systems are broken all over the place. All the institutions are basically failing us in some catastrophic way. And the world's gone through the pandemic and et cetera. And the money systems are, unreliable, all of the stuff. It's going to get more disruptive. And then Pluto goes into Aquarius starting 2023. It goes back a bit and then goes forward again. But with Pluto going out of Capricorn into Aquarius, the theme is going to be you are who you're with. Who are you with? And I mean on every level, like who are you spending time with? Who are you choosing to serve? Who are you identifying with? All the identity politics. Who are you with? And we all have an enormous responsibility to decide whether we are going to be separatists or we are going to be problematic allies. That's the big question on the board. I am an Aquarius, so I'm going to say to you, all I wish for is that everybody gets it, that the planet has no more time for us to be petty. None. We've got to be together on this project. And so your crew is to embolden you to make those big legacy making changes. So that's Pluto and Aquarius come 2023. Also, Saturn goes into Pisces in 2023, and we will face, for certain, enormous water issues. And so again, you kind of want to know, can I come to your house and take a shower? I don't know how it's going to plan out, but you don't, what we've done that has been such a mistake is we went from tribal communal people to people that are in more and more and more boxes.
Yes.
Yeah.
The car box, the little apartment box, the identity box.
Mhm.
The boxes have not furthered human consciousness at all. So we have to start breaking down the boxes and being more problematic allies that are in alignment with something bigger than ourselves. Does that help?
Oh, yeah.
But it's going to get thorny, and don't make it like a disaster. Make it, growth move.
This is something I've heard, but I don't know if it's exactly true. So that's 2023. Is 2024? It feels like it was always said that 2020 through 2024 was going to get super hairy. And we don't need to go to 2024 astrology, but is that something you've also heard where these 4 years are going to be really tricky and then it gets better after
No.
2024?
See, that's the funny part about astrology. It never gets better. We get better.
Okay.
Like, I find this hysterical. Like, there's some, as if, like,
That's
if we
true.
just sit here and suck our thumbs and watch our TVs, it will get better in 2024.
True.
No. Every single thing that occurs is a partnership with us and the divine. If we do nothing and let this shit show continue at the rate it's going, 2024 is going to be horrible.
Yeah.
That's so true.
So
Yeah.
this is why get in your
Collaboration.
pods,
Yep.
make your commitments. Then we could have, I believe, because I'm a romantic, that we can have heaven on earth. I know we can. We just need a rapid increase in human consciousness. A united ensemble chorus of consciousness.
Amen. Powerful. Yeah, that makes me feel better to know kind of the thorniness that is to come. I feel
Yeah.
like I'm like, haven't we been in
The
so much
water
thorniness?
thing has been predicted a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great, hey, listen, we're the most inventive people. We got this neocortex. We can make anything. I like to say make believe. Where did we get that idea? Yes, we make it because we believe it. So believe we can solve all this.
Love that. All about that.
Ooh, this has been
so much
fun.
fun. So the
Appreciate
book
you.
is
Are you
out.
excited?
A Map to Your Soul, October 4th,
Beautiful.
in
We'll
every
line up this.
format. And Goop and Random House are putting it out. And I feel very, very grateful to all that support. And I'm very moved and inspired that this book is coming out at a consequential time.
Absolutely. And during so this is your Saturn return, second
No,
Saturn
no, it's
return, or
not
no?
that. It's that I've had
Saturn.
Saturn square my moon, believe me,
got it.
transiting for the last year. It's like,
Oh, like I'm done.
How
let me
is-
tell you what it's been like. No, just a lot of work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Well,
Good.
we're grateful that
Same.
you were here, and make sure everyone get the book. This will come out around that time.
Yeah, I'm
perfect
so
timing.
excited. This was such a pleasure.
Such a
It
gift
was
you two
such
are.
a good one.
Can't
I
wait
really
for your
appreciate
role
it.
plays and your
I
new
can't
colors.
wait. Yeah.
And I dare you, double dare you to do a pretend fight on air.
Okay.
Ooh,
And I
good
want
one.
to hear the screaming.
I know. I can't remember the last time I screamed. I want to.
See?
Totally.
You're going to work up
I'm doing a darkness retreat where it's like all darkness.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm probably going to scream my face off.
And
And that's so helpful.
Yeah.
Can I tell
Yeah.
you that volume coming out of your body is
Yes.
it's like taking a shower of just release.
Yes.
Cool.
Oof.
Way to
Oof.
go. Okay, thanks.
Amazing.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much. We'll talk to you later, guys.
Okay, bye.
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 Thank you so much, Jennifer Freed. Again, that's jenniferfreed.com. And the book is Map to Your Soul.
Yeah, A Map to Your Soul is out now, so grab it on jenniferfreed.com. We love you guys so much. Thanks for tuning in. It means the world. And if you want to learn more about Almost 30, what we got going on over here in the community, in our courses and programs, in our membership, you can go to almost30.com. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at almost30podcast. And I'm at Lindsay Simsick.
And I'm at It's Krista, Krista.
Love you guys. We'll see you really soon.
See you soon.
Bye.